Hello, rare ones, and welcome back to Rarely Typical, a podcast where I am talking about living with a chronic illness, finding hope, and living a life that is rarely typical. If you are new here, hi, my name is Jerry Langan. If you are watching this video and it sucks, I apologize. I am trying a new method, and the last couple of videos have not been the best quality, but at least if you're listening, you are not having to see the glitchiness of this podcast video. I want to chat a little bit about chronic illness burnout today. So, the last two blog posts that I have written, and if you're not subscribed to my Substack, this is a shameless plug to go check it out. There is a blog that I have started, and it has morphed over the last year, and I am still figuring out what it is I want this content to look like, but I'm trying to go back to my roots. And there's a reason for that, which will be what we talk about today. I have always been a writer. I love writing. I find it very cathartic. When I started my Instagram, it was mostly because it was for me. I was posting long captions and it just felt very cathartic for me when I was in the hospital to just write out all my thoughts and my feelings. And it honestly just mentally helped me a lot. And so I was doing it. And then as my Instagram started to grow, I realized that there was a lot of people that could relate. All that to be said is that my content has been a little sparse lately, and there is a reason for that. And I think that our generation is a it's fine generation. And that's the other blog post that I wrote recently. We, as millennials, I am a bona fide millennial. I feel like we have always been an it's fine generation. We've been taught that you should be doing more and that you are only successful if you're doing the most and if you're always busy. And even if you're not fine, say you're fine and grin and bear it. And I think those are the things that our generation has struggled with. And something that I have struggled with myself is telling myself that sometimes it's not fine. And I think chronic illness has honestly taught me that it's okay not to be fine. It goes against every grain in my body to say, oh, I'm not doing that great when I really just want to say it's fine. And I think that as a generation, we struggle with it's fine, both emotionally and physically. And it causes us a lot of trouble in our relationships. Millennials have a very hard time with relationships and being vulnerable. That is me. It is me. And I do not like to be vulnerable. I do not like to cry. I really hate feelings. It's like a genuine mantra of mine. And I'll say, ew, feelings. Or what is this? What am I feeling? And it's just part of my personality at this point. We have learned to cover up our feelings and our vulnerability with dark humor and jokes. And it honestly, I get is not healthy, but it is part of the way that, we as millennials deal with things. Something that I have also been very good at, and probably my unofficial therapist would say that it is also not as healthy because of how often I do it. But when I was diagnosed, I compartmentalized, and I am a hardcore compartmentalizer. When I was diagnosed, I took that diagnosis and I am not honestly sure how much of it I felt. I did feel it for a little bit, but then I put it away in a box and I put the box away. And I don't know how often I actually take that box out and sit with those feelings and analyze those feelings, because as a it's fine generation, I've got other stuff to do. I don't have time to analyze those feelings. I don't have time to sit and just, you know, grasp the situation. For me, a lot of my dealing with things is getting to work. And that is also part of how we were raised. But what that turns into, and what my other blog post was about, is chronic illness burnout. And chronic illness burnout is so niche that you could only understand it if you have a chronic illness. Burnout, as a general term, everybody feels burnout in some capacity. You feel burned out when you're dealing with your relationships that are really intense or really heavy, or relationships that burn you out or take all of your energy. And then you also feel burnout at work and you're tired of doing the same thing over and over again. You're not sure if this is your passion or if this is what you were made to do. And it's a job and not a career. All of those things come with work burnout. But you also get burnout when it comes to giving, like giving your time, giving your effort. I just came from food pantry today. It's a Tuesday and I spend, 4 hours there serving the people, and it is exhausting. And there are moments where I'm there and I'm like, wow, this is really cool. But there are also moments that I get done and I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to do that again because I'm so tired. And it's just a lot of giving. And I feel like, especially with chronic illness, and especially dealing with a body that is always fighting me, I often overlook my body and my energy levels and my body battery. And most of the time, I'm like, no, it's fine. I can keep going. But then that causes burnout. I'm a mom. I'm a prior military wife. I have been selflessly giving so many pieces of myself for so long that sometimes there's burnout there. Like, I don't want to have to move again. I don't want to have to make dinner tonight. I don't want to have to pack snacks today. And I also feel like sometimes we get in our heads and we're like, wow, you're so ungrateful for feeling like that. But like, our feelings are incredibly valid. And when there's so much burnout happening in everyone's lives, you overthink, you overanalyze all of the things that you could be grateful for. And so for me, it's part of my it's fine generation. Instead of feeling, oh, these feelings are valid, a lot of the time I feel like I'm not being grateful. And I don't feel like that's accurate. I don't feel like that's fair to me either when I'm feeling burnt out. And I think all of these burnout feelings are compounded when you have a chronic illness. And that's where we're talking about when it comes to my content, is that like I started this page and I started my Instagram and, I started all of these channels that I have when I needed it the most, when I was the sickest. I started posting on Instagram. I felt like I could be that girl for someone else. I felt like maybe my story would help somebody else not feel alone. And to say that any of that has changed, but I am burnt out in so many places in my life. I feel like I'm always doing something. I'm always busy. I'm always giving. And there's honestly not a lot left at the end of the day for content. And I want to make sure that I say I'm so thankful to be healthy and to be able to burn out, to be able to give at food pantry and give at young adults and go out and hang out with my friends and run around with the kids and take them to practices and, hang out with them and take them to go do fun stuff. Like, I do love those things, but I also have to honor my body when it comes to chronic illness. And that's something that I feel like I have such a hard time with, is because chronic illness is exhausting. I am always at the doctor. I'm always waiting for the next shoe to drop. I'm always looking for lab results. I'm always scheduling something else. And I feel like if it's not those things, I'm taking medication, I'm checking my medication, I'm ordering my medication. I am doing all of these things when it comes to my chronic illness that somebody that is healthy already has all this other burnout, like parenting, these work and emotional and relationship burnouts, that when you add chronic illness on top of all of that, it is a wonder that chronic illness people are able to make it day to day. When you call chronic illness people warriors, it is genuinely such an accurate term, because you cannot imagine how much more stressful your life would be if you had to deal with an entire different facet. And there are so many things that go into being ill. Like, I am traveling back and forth to clinic. I drive 2.5 hours there and 2.5 hours back. That's 5 hours round trip. That's not including that I have to be there all day. I have to eat lunch there, and then I have to turn around, come back, and then play mom when I get home. And there are people that rely on me. There are kids that rely on me, a family that relies on me, friends that like want to see me from time to time. And I'm busy going to the doctor. I'm busy going and getting another test done. I'm anxious, wondering if the next shoe is going to drop, like wondering if I'm going to get a bad test result and hoping that's not the case. But like the emotional turmoil plus the physical demand of being chronically ill is exhausting. And I have so much chronic illness burnout that like when CVS calls me and asks me to make my next medication order, I just want to slam my phone on the ground and step on it. But also, how lucky am I that we can afford my medication? That is not always the case. And I know that there are a lot of people out there that can't afford the medication and end up passing away because they literally just don't have the access to care that I have. And my it's fine generation struggles with the reality of what chronic illness burnout looks like and just burnout in general. And I feel like this is something that everybody can relate to. You are demanded for so many things in your life, no matter what you do, no matter who you are, no matter if you have a family or you don't have a family. Everybody is pulled in so many directions. Like that is just American society. We are pulled so hard and so far and stretched so thin that when you add having a chronic illness and knowing that there are all of these other things that are required just to get your body to work, just to get your body to function somewhat normally, is so intense that the chronic illness burnout is so burdensome. And I feel like the it's fine generation in me says, no, you're good, you're fine. It's, you're just going to have to deal with it. That part of me just pulls at me. And it's just the reality of the situation. I am so thankful for the health that I'm feeling. But when I am already being burnt out on all of these other things, and then I have to add chronic illness on top of that, it's just exhausting. And I am so thankful that I'm healthy. I've been healthy for the last year or so in being on this clinical trial drug. And I have felt so much more normal. And I just want to be able to do the things that I'm here to do. I'm here to be a mom. I'm here to be a wife. I'm here to be a friend to my people that are here. And I want to do those things. And I feel like having to talk about my chronic illness all the time is such a buzzkill. Today at Food Pantry, somebody asked me about my site. I did a reel today about when someone stares at your site. I'm just glad that this guy asked. He was just like, what's that? And I'm happy to answer those questions. I'm happy to raise awareness and explain to people the situation and the disease. But it's also such a buzzkill to have to talk about being sick when you don't necessarily feel super sick all the time. I'm so thankful to be healthy. I'm so thankful to be able to run around with my kids and do all these things. And then to turn around and have to make a post about chronic illness is just a buzzkill. Let's be real. Nobody wants to talk about being sick all the time. And I know so many chronic illness influencers who have walked away from their pages over the last, I don't know, I've been doing this for almost 8 years. I've seen so many people walk away from accounts with hundreds of thousands of followers because they were ready to pivot. They were ready to do something more with their lives than talk about being sick all the time. I started this page and I started all of these channels when it was something that I really needed. And I know that story is still needed, which is why I continue to do it. But there are moments where I'm like, wow, could I be one of those people that walks away like today? And I also believe that there is a place for the stories like mine where I am so thankful to be healthy and I am healthy ish, but I'm also still struggling with all of these things. And I do believe that there is a place for that. I know that I'm on page, 75 of my story, and there are some people that are still on page 1. And I hope that my story gives them the inspiration and the motivation to think that if she can do it, I can do it, And I hope that's what this page will be. But I also want to show myself grace, and I want to show myself grace in remembering that I am an advocate for the first time. I am sick for the first time. I am a mom for the first time. I'm a friend for the first time. This is my first time being this old and being this many days old, and everything. I'm doing it for the first time, and I have to try and show myself grace there, even when I'm burnt out. I know that there's space for this story of mine and the way that I'm feeling. I know that there are other people out there that are like this. I just I don't know. I don't know what I want and what I want to do with this. I have been so thankful for the opportunities that I've gotten. I have been so thankful for all of the things that this story has given me. God has been so faithful through my story. God has shown up in ways that I could not have imagined. And this story of mine has exceeded what I could have ever imagined for my future. And yes, I am dealing with a chronic illness. And yes, I am sick some days, and I'm dealing with hell week some days. And there are some days that I just feel like crap and it sucks. And I also want people to know that, yeah, those days do happen, but there are also some really good days. There are some really good days. And if you don't see me on Instagram, you don't see me on TikTok, it's not because I'm gone. It's because I'm enjoying those really good days. And honestly, I didn't know if I would get those good days. So if you are listening to this and if you understand what I'm feeling, I hope that you know that I'm so thankful that you're here. I'm so thankful that you're listening to this story. You're listening to my voice, because God, I hate my voice. I am so thankful for all of the people that follow my story and are so invested. There's a lot of lessons that I'm still learning as I go, and that is why this page will continue to live on, is because there are a lot of things that I will experience that I think can be a useful lesson to people. There are things that I have already been through that I could still talk about. Clinical trial experience, changing medical providers, moving across states, finding a new medical team, all of the things that I have experienced in my journey. There are so many things that we could still talk about, but there are also things that I know, as somebody who is living this life for the first time, I know that there will be lessons to learn in the future. And those are the things that I want to keep sharing with you guys. But there are also just days that I'm really enjoying being healthy for a while. Having a chronic illness, I know that it could change tomorrow. Like, I could get a bad result tomorrow. Something bad could happen tomorrow. But if it doesn't, then maybe it'll be another good day. And I hope that also is a little motivation for you guys, that like, take it day by day. You can do anything for a day. And sometimes you just have to get through the day. And that's how I feel. And I am chronically burnt out just in general. I'm burnt out on work and, keeping up with emails and making meetings and all of this stuff. But there's so much gratification in it. There's so much purpose behind what I'm doing. And so I try to remind myself that, yes, I am tired, but there is somebody out there who's listening to the story and going, man, I am so glad that I heard that. Like, I really needed that today. And those are the things that keep me going. So thank you guys for all the sweet messages on that last blog post. There were so many sweet messages that I got about, we'll take you any way we can get you. And I love that. I hope to keep showing up. I hope to keep doing the thing and making the content. But if I'm not there, it's just because I'm enjoying my good days. So I hope you enjoy your good days too. I hope that this is a lesson for you guys. We do not have to be an It's Fine generation. We can be honest and be vulnerable and share our feelings. And it is okay to not be fine sometimes. And I am so happy. I'm in such a good place. It's just sometimes that place isn't online, and that has to be okay for now. So thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I will talk to you guys soon.